We resume our story in Damovodsk, Molkovia. After Leah and Sarah followed Damian's example by grabbing themselves a chair to sit on, the three fell into an exhausted silence, with the only noise being the TV behind them resounding, with the fighting host's enthusiastic voice. Turning his gaze toward the screen, Damian noted how Brynhild seemed to have the upper hand against her opponent, prompting him to mutter absent-mindedly. "Seems like Bryn is about to win her match." Thus, amidst watching the two combatants exchanging punches and kicks that would have turned anyone below the master level into some unrecognizable bloody mush, 5 minutes elapsed. At one point, Seraphine's sensitive ears caught the sound of footsteps, prompting her to remark softly, "I think they're here." Although Damian's hearing was not as keen as the young woman's, it was not much worse, and thus he was quick to confirm her statement. From the sound, there should be at least 4 or 5 people, which was not something he could deal with, even at peak state, let alone now. Hopefully, the people coming were not in league with that Petrovich guy. Fortunately, his paranoia was clearly unfounded, as none of the 5 people who arrived through the penthouse personal elevator at the end of the vestibule held a weapon in their hands, though he did notice the vague shape of a holster below each of their light vest. Knowing the reason why they were called, being armed was understandable, though Damian still opted to observe them in case they decided to act suspiciously. As the group approached the entrance door, the man in the lead, who seemed to be in his 50s, though his muscular frame that was barely hidden beneath his clothes made him seem 2 or 3 decades younger, suddenly stated in a warm tone, "Mrs. Mikhailov, it's good to see you, though it's unfortunate it had to be in these circumstances." Seeing how the man stepped over one of the bloody corpses lying across the entrance, without even losing his warm smile, Damian realized that the latter was certainly a ruthless character. Assuming that because of his warm expression he was soft, would only result in one's own death. With a small nod, Adelia replied in a calm tone, with her expression only exuding coldness. "Mr. Yakovich, if I remember correctly, the last time was when you promised to do one thing for me. With Petrovich still sending his men after me and my family, it seemed like your so-called favor isn't worth much, is it?" Indeed, Yakovich was one of Leah's contacts, whom she asked to take care of Petrovich, only for them to tell her that they had warned him and that he would certainly not bother her again. Clearly, that damn Petrovich did not care about their warning one bit. Hearing the redhead's words, Yakovich felt a hint of embarrassment. The man was not exactly the kind and understanding sort, so if she had been someone else, her fate would have been bleak. However, the woman was not only part of Damovodsk's upper circle, but she had also saved his life and many others in the past, gaining many influential people's favors in the process. What concerned him the most, though, was the way those 3 thugs had died. Indeed, for someone in the cleaning business, it was easy to see that each of them was handled with only 1 heavy caliber bullet to the chest. Add to that the fact that the unknown young man seated silently a few meters away had a large handgun set on his lap, it was not difficult to guess that he was responsible for the 3 men's deaths. To wield a large handgun well enough to successfully one-shot a man in the chest center implied being an experienced shot and having an abnormally strong muscle strength, the latter hinting at having some martial arts training. Seeing the sharp eyes directed at him and his men, a sliver of apprehension traversed Yakovich's body, prompting him to think. That man is most likely a martial artist, but from what I remember, the only man left in the family was a frail teenager named Damian. Could it be that kid? No matter the young man's identity, a martial artist needed to be respected, especially one so young whose body radiated such a powerful aura. Thus, Yakovich put aside any thought of shirking his responsibility for his failure to uphold Mrs. Mikhailov's favor. After taking a deep breath, the man's warm expression was replaced by a solemn one, as he declared, while bowing slightly. I am indeed in the wrong, and for that I deeply apologize. To make amends, this cleaning will be free of charge, and I'll also provide you with a potential channel for you and your family to deal with your current predicament. Although I can't promise that it will absolutely work, at least it would be better than relying on myself and the others from Damovoch's circle. As soon as these words left his lips, he gestured for his men to get to work, dividing the 4 subordinates into 2 groups, with 2 of them dealing with the corpses, while the other 2 went to retrieve their tools to fix the holes in the walls. As for the damaged furniture and windows, they had to be completely changed and would take a few more hours for Yakovich, other subordinates, to find equivalents to bring to the penthouse. While the group of cleaners started working with an expression that said, "Another normal day on the job," Yakovich began to chat with Adelia, sending her the contact information of a special place, before turning his head toward Damian and, after nodding slightly, asking, "May I ask if this is Mr. Damian Mikhailov?" Although Damian did not let down his guard completely, seeing that the men seemed to truly be there just to deal with the mess, he did put back the safety on his gun and stood up, before returning the nod and replying with a simple, "Mr. Yakovich?" Despite the curt reply, Yakovich was not bothered, as different people had different status and different privileges. Strengthening the muscles at that age meant that there was a decent chance of reaching the elite level, which was something that the overwhelming majority of martial artists would never achieve. Truly, the Mikhailov family was teeming with talent. While Yakovich's mind was filled with thoughts, he commented, "Such talent is truly commendable. Having Mrs. Brynhild in your family already made people envious, and now a second talented martial artist appears. If only my children could be half as impressive as you, I'd be over the moon." From his words, it was clear that the man had realized Damian's situation, though the young man was not exactly surprised, as he pretty much did it on purpose. A weapon could only deter others if these others were aware of its existence. Thus, Damian opted to display some of his strength to make others think twice before crossing him and his family. As for the risk of showing all his cards, well, with how quickly his power grew, if their enemies relied on his visible strength to deal with him, then the result would only be a resounding failure. After Yakovich chatted a bit more with Damian and Adelia, while Seraphine kept quiet on the side, The man told them that it should only take a few more hours before everything was fixed. Then he bid them goodbye and left the penthouse, leaving the men working diligently and in almost complete silence. Not wanting to leave the guests alone without supervision, the Mikhailovs went to sit at the dining table, with Damian fighting off the exhaustion, threatening to make him fall asleep on the spot. Fortunately, the four men were very efficient, and a little before midnight, everything was almost perfectly as it used to be before the previous attack. Seeing the result, Leah let out a relieved sigh before declaring, "Let's go to my office. The surgery shouldn't take a long time since the bullet hasn't gone very far inside you. I'll inform Bryn that she should meet us there." Thus, the three people, after grabbing a few things, left for the garage downstairs, got into the SUV and drove to Adelia's doctor's office. Though calling it an office was somewhat misleading, as it contained a few operating rooms along with several recovery rooms. In short, it was pretty much a mini private hospital with one permanent surgeon and nurse, and some temporary ones called only when needed. After parking the car in the private parking lot behind the building, the three Mikhailovs went inside, and Leah brought Damian to the X-ray machine, while instructing Sarah to wait in one of the recovery rooms. The X-ray image confirmed what the middle-aged woman guessed. The bullet was lodged in the young man's abdominal muscles, with no other visible damage to the body. Of course, X-rays were not necessarily reliable when it came to observing soft tissues, but with the bullet position, the chance of her guess being right was very high. Feeling somewhat relieved, the redhead pulled Damian toward the surgery room, while sharing what she had discovered from the X-ray image with him before explaining. "Since it's only a light surgery, I'll use localized anesthesia. It should take between 30 minutes to an hour to get you all fixed up, and after that, we can directly go back home." Between cleaning the wound, administering the anesthesia, widening the wound opening to remove the bullets, suturing the cut, and finally bandaging it, it barely took 25 minutes, which was faster than she had anticipated. The reason behind her mistake was the fact that the bullet had moved slightly closer to the skin surface, making it easier and quicker to remove it. There was just one problem with the surgery though. Indeed, aside from the unexpected bullet movement, the experienced surgeon had also underestimated Damian's metabolism, which had only taken a few minutes to completely eliminate the anesthesia from the body. Thus, for most of the surgery, the young man had to grit his teeth through the pain of being cut open, having a cold metallic pincer grabbing a bullet from his own flesh, and finally having the latter being sewn back up. It was pure torture, but fortunately it did not last too long. Now all fixed up, Damian declared, while barely able to keep his eyes open. "Let's just go home before I pass out, shall we?"
Morning comes too early, hands already warm, working for a better day, trying to keep me warm. Boss man count his tally, we just count our turn. Fair don't come easy, I had to stand and fight for mine.